Welcome to the Heart of Fauquier podcast. I am your host, Austin Bedrosian, and today we have a special guest, Ryan Freidline. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Hello, world. Thank you, Austin, for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. We've been trying to plan, and some things get in the way, and we're here, though, so that's what matters.
Small-time business owners, small community business owners, working together. It's great. It's fantastic.
Definitely. And also exciting news, this is our first time in the Bedrosian Cleaning Studio.
It's amazing. You guys got to get in here.
So I'm excited about this, to have guests come in and everything. It's just a nice space that you don't have to, it's all set up all the time.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Yeah.
If you have any suggestions for what to put on these walls or if they should stay blank, let me know. But without further ado, Ryan owns A-Team Roof and Exterior Cleaning.
That's the one.
So while I own a janitorial service on the inside, you guys take care of all the outsides of houses and commercial buildings.
That's correct.
So before we dive into business stuff too much, tell me a little bit about Ryan. We were talking recently about your family. Yeah. What kind of stuff do you love to do? Who's Ryan?
Okay. It's pretty easy. I was born in Wildwood, New Jersey, so the Jersey Shore, and then my parents were both IBMers and moved to Fauquier County when the Manassas branch of IBM opened up. And so I've been here and there ever since. So for the last 30, 35 years, been in Fauquier. And my wife comes from the area, raised and grew up on Waterloo Street. She was born in Fauquier and didn't meet her until college at what was now Laurel Ridge, was Lord Fairfax. I actually had a full-time job and was in sales for a food distribution company and doing pretty well. And I was like, well, let me check out this local new college and see if I could pick up a course in English and maybe meet a girl. Honestly, I mean,
did you get both of them or just one?
I never got the in-depth education that maybe I could have, but I definitely found more than I could have ever imagined in a soulmate with my wife, who I've been married to for 23 years now. We've got 4 beautiful daughters. Really, I'm blessed beyond measure as far as my family's concerned. Much like yourself, it's just amazing, and to be able to raise them here in Fauquier and contribute to the community with those gems, it's just amazing. So I love these connections, and I love Warrenton. It's our home. We live on Waterloo Street here in Old Town, and I started A-Team I guess 15, 16 years ago. It's been 2009 is when we were officially, I guess I got into the cleaning business around 2006. I decided to get out of food distribution and do something on my own. And it's been a roller coaster. I mean, anybody that's kind of ventured off into the risk of entrepreneurship knows that nothing is guaranteed. And you got to be pretty sharp. And these last 15, 16 years, it's been amazing that we've been able to, stay open, keep the doors on, provide a living, for a household of 6 and employees along the way. We've been fairly micro the entire time. I've mostly been a business owner operator with, helpers and technicians on a part-time and even full-time scale. We've grown twice over those last 15 years. The first time was unsuccessful and continuing on, and we kind of took a step back, but it's amazing, it's fun, and that's kind of where I'm at now, 16 years into the business, and with 3 teenagers, 1 9-year-old, all girls, 2 Bichons, beautiful home in Warrenton that my wife, actually, she grew up 4 doors down, 5 doors down. Yeah, so her parents are 5 doors down. So I feel like I'm living the life, living the dream. It's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah. Wow. So that's Ryan, I guess. Oh, and I like to play the drums. Conguero, I can play a trap kit, not very well, but we play locally sometimes, my wife and I, with a couple other players at O'Brien's on occasionally.
Oh, cool. What does she play?
She's a pianist.
Okay.
And during that tenureship of 23 years, we actually played in the church most of that time, her and I. in whatever capacity was needed, instrumentally or vocally. So we're involved. We like to be. Yeah, that's.
So when you said you know your way around a mic, a lot of that's as a musician, yeah?
A little bit.
Very cool. Nice. So hopefully this audio says good, and
Yeah,
that you approve
that.
of it in the end. So we'll see.
We'll see.
But so how did A-Team get started in 2009? What made you jump into that from your distribution job and everything like that?
Well, actually, it started back in, I'd say, 2006. And as we get older, the years kind of lose their accuracy. But in 2006, the idea first came up.
Okay.
A friend of mine, high school friend, and I were discussing it, over drinks in a cabin. There was 5 of us, and identified a need for cleaning in the area, specifically power washing, pressure washing, and also noted the new organism or whatever was growing on rooftops that wasn't so prevalent. This is now going back, 15 years ago, which are the black streaky stains on rooftops.
Yeah.
That's actually how we got started, was as a roof cleaning company, and added the pressure cleaning or pressure washing, soft washing, acid washing, as you develop, as you go on and learn these different techniques. We started with roof cleaning. So I started educating or researching, what that looked like, what was it, what those stains were specifically. And to find out they were an organic material that could be cleaned safely and effectively, and with the permission of the Asphalt Manufacturing Association, which you don't want to void people's shingle warranties by not doing what the manufacturer suggests. So that's also taught us that in everything else we offer as a service, we look to the manufacturing guide of each substrate. Hardy Plank, the vinyl siding companies all have specific remediations for mold and mildew on their substrates.
Oh, wow.
So it's our job to find out, what they recommend, and, adapt it into our cleaning systems. And so that takes a long time. So, but anyway, we learned how to do it with rooftops, and, safe. Sometimes, this is on camera, right? Sometimes not so safely. The first couple rooftops as an owner-operator, excuse me, I remember myself.
OSHA doesn't listen to these, so.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a time limitation on this,
Right.
but man, I felt like Spider-Man. I was like this on a roof, hanging on for my life, and so that had to happen so that I realized the need for safety standards at the A-Team.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm most proud about, I think, today as a company, is how we really make sure that safety before anything else, because what we do as professionals and in the field on people's home property, and this is their livelihood. And if you mess it up, then you got to take care of it. Yeah. Case in point, we just did a bank in Middleburg. Turned out wonderful, except they had these placards, and I didn't know this, but they were 23 karat gold. They were vinyl, they were plastic, but it looks like paint, but it's not. It's a very thin foil of 23 karat gold, and it got a little messed up. And we took pictures before the project. Every project gets pictures now, before and after. And so we saw the sign before, and it was great looking. And then after the wash, it looks like there was a reaction. Mm. So, but in those opportunities, it's really at this stage good, because we all as a company took a step back and communicated with the client that it wasn't an issue, that it would be taken care of immediately. And so we went about doing that, and the customer was very helpful. I could tell you where I got the signs. Oh, great. Now I get a color code or whatever I need to make this right. And so I got involved with the sign company, and so they're going to take care of it and everything like that, and the customer's going to be happy. But it's learning how to navigate through those obstacles that I think has kept us alive for 15 years. And it's taken a long time, and you screw up all along the way, but it's learning from your mistakes, right?
Yeah. And I mean, you've already talked to me about how you've learned, like, all these details that I obviously would never have thought of. Even hiring someone to clean like the outside of a house, I wouldn't think of all these things about the warranty on all these specific items that you're using. So like for you to do that research and everything shows how trusted you can be. And, before we even started recording, you're saying how on your way here to this recording, you were teaching about stuff like flowers, like, don't want to damage flowers and plants because it's springtime, you don't want to kill what people just put in the ground. So thinking about, salt and, things that, maybe gardeners are thinking about it when they hire a pressure washer, but I'm not, so to make sure that you're doing all those details is pretty awesome.
Thank you, Austin. It's that means a lot.
Yeah, some people will just come in, contractors in general, and they just mess stuff up.
We call it splash and dash.
Yes.
That's what we call it.
It's a real thing.
It is a real thing. And when I was speaking to specifically before the interview started, like you said about flowers and things like that, it's right now, specifically in April in Virginia, the lack of moisture we've had recently. There's been no rain. So these plants that are blooming, they're starving and pulling every ounce of moisture out of the ground. And yeah, we have to think about all the stuff that we're taking off the house that you don't want there. We have to use a soap. And we have to carry it into a safe place, which is usually, mud or dirt or mulch is where you want to put your runoff and things, not on the plants, So there's a lot of pre-wetting, post-wetting, We invested a lot of money this, 2 years ago, and we're capable now of flooding a property with like 15 gallons a minute. Which, nobody knows, what is that? So like if you went to
It's a lot of water.
It's a lot of water. if you went to Home Depot, the biggest pressure washer you could get would be 4 gallons a minute.
Wow.
And so we're able, and it's not high pressure, it's just volume.
Yeah.
And so when you can give your technicians that kind of a cushion to protect things, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, where were we at? What was the question?
No, you're good. We're talking about how you got started and stuff, but it's good. We're getting into the details of how you do it. So what all do you guys do? So obviously, you talked about roof cleaning. What else? You're talking about maybe patios and siding?
Pretty much anything at this point. We know how to clean or can clean from the roof to the ground, the foundation of a house, and all the surrounding properties, patios, decks. We don't always accept all the work that's offered to us. Sometimes with wood decks, they require staining afterwards, or the customer would like staining afterwards, and that's something that we used to do, but learned that we couldn't do what we wanted to do and continue to do that to a standard. So we're currently looking into offering, that work to one of our other contractors in the group, Jeff Parker. So we do have some limitations. We don't stain decks, but other than that, solar panels on a rooftop. We have water-fed poles, that use pure water technology to make the glass hydrophobic, to make it safe for operators to clean exterior windows from the ground, or solar panels. That's really cool.
And solar panels are getting more and more popular. I've seen them popping up all over the place.
Over the place. Yeah. And in Virginia, with our canopy system of trees, pollen.
Oh my gosh, right now. My car's green every day.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I'm going to put a quick plug in for the A-Team because we're talking about what we do. If you're not getting your gutters cleaned twice a year, you need to make that habitual because we have the spring, early summer pod season, and the pods get ridiculous and they clog up the downspouts, and then the summer rains come in and they pull the gutters away from the fascia because they're weighted down. And I just see it every day, and I have to just make a plug for it. Make sure you get your gutters cleaned twice a year, and please don't go up 2.5, 3 stories if you don't do it every day. That's
dangerous.
The other thing. It is.
You guys can do the Spider-Man tricks that you learned.
Well, as a policy, we don't allow the technicians to step foot on the rooftop without permission.
Right.
And they have to be roped off, and we have to have a guy at the bottom. All of our ladder work is done in accordance with OSHA standards, and it makes a difference, man. It really, really does. To be on those ladders every day, the small variables that equipment like ladders can have, just using the same tools every day, it's just, and in the capacity of being in a position to so easily compromise yourself health-wise.
Yeah.
Again, get back to that safety thing.
Yep. And then you're dealing with water and stuff like that, so slipping all over and
Yeah,
there's a lot to it.
There's a lot to it. So that's been a huge hurdle as a business owner, is just putting all those systems of cleaning in a trainable system. Because I'm still learning after 15 years, the gold flake thing. I had no idea about that. I've never run into that. So
now you know.
Now I know. And I'm actually excited that we know, because now I can say before the next one, what we have to do to protect them.
Yep.
Yeah.
How far out do you guys work? Obviously, we're kind of based in Fauquier, but do you do Nova stuff? Do you go south at all?
Great question. When we started out, we did a lot of work in Northern Virginia. It was, I guess, just easier to market to Northern Virginia, and that's, I guess, what we chose 15 years to do. Probably mistakenly, we probably should have concentrated a little bit more locally. Again, we're blessed to be alive. Anybody getting into business, start close and then go out.
Right.
Start close, then go out. Don't go out and then come close. So we've really concentrated efforts at home, being involved in the groups that I just talked about, Chamber and all those, Heart of Fauquier here, and trying to build that presence here. But yeah, from here to, we got clients, Alexandria, that's commercial work, and larger residential properties. But we've kind of been able to bring the circle back a little bit the last, I'd say 24 months. So we're doing a lot more local work in Warrenton, Middleburg, Fauquier, Culpeper even, Gainesville, obviously Haymarket are big areas for us. And then, we're still going to Vienna. Clients I've had for 12, 13 years, great people. I can't imagine anybody else taking care of them. So we kind of plan to go to Northern Virginia twice a week, even with 66 in its current condition.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else feel like they're getting charged tolls and they're not even traveling on 66?
Yeah.
I'm getting dinged from the Easy Pass, like renew your account, put more money in. I'm like, well, I tell the guys not to go there.
Yep. I avoid 66 as much as I can.
It's terrible.
Yeah. At least the construction has shifted lately in the last year or two.
Thank God for that.
There's certain areas that are done and now they're just going to a different area. But
I don't even recognize 28. It's like, what's happening here?
So
that hopefully that answers your questions. We're kind of all over the place. We'll go everywhere that we can make sense for our company and our clients.
Yeah. What's been one of your favorite parts of being a business owner, being an entrepreneur?
The autonomy. I'd have to say, with focus on my family, it's enabled me to construct my time, even though I feel like I'm terrible at time management. I've been able to have the ability to adapt and be where I needed to be. For instance, my wife and her career and her work, she was a nurse for 20 years and worked 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. in the morning. And for a short time, we lived in Culpeper, like 5 years, and she had to make that commute down 29. And angels alone protected my wife. Because if you've ever done a 12-hour shift,
and you're tired, you're beat.
And then you get in a car for about an hour. So anyway, God is good on that. So the ability to kind of be autonomous and not be in a construct of a 8 to 5 or a 9 to 5 and have to be somewhere really was my favorite thing, because I was able to kind of be there for my kids when they most needed me without having to feel bad about not working, even though as a business owner, you always feel bad if you're not working all the time. And it took me years to get past that. I don't now. It's all about balance, guys. Balance.
It's a very real thing. That's something I've had to deal with, and I'm working through and everything, because, little ones at home, you want to spend as much time with them as you can. And the trick is, as a business owner, you can, but that also means you're not doing other stuff. You don't have someone telling you what to do. you're choosing. So you got to decide, hey, I got to set this time apart for, grinding in the business and really pushing it. And then spending that, strategic time with your family and enjoying it, and not trying to do both at the same time, because then you don't do either. It's a trick. I haven't figured it out yet either.
Yeah. And those little phones get in the way too.
Yeah.
They have a tendency to keep popping up. So it takes work to be a family person as much as it takes work to be, an entrepreneur or business owner or an employee or anything. You've got to have balance, and it's been difficult, at COVID, 3-4 years ago, and then after it, just the shift and balance of everything, the ability to adapt, I think, is key. Be like the pebble in the water. Be the water.
Be fluid.
That's it.
Yeah. It's funny. My daughter's obsessed. She gets obsessed with certain movies for a while. I'm sure you've had that. That's all they'll watch, and then they move to the next one. Well, one of the most recent one is Mulan. So as sweet as a coursing river. That's what I think of that song. Be a man.
Yep.
We gotta sing it at bedtime every night, nap time. It's still her obsession. So fun times. But I get to be there for most of it. So just like you were saying, that's why a lot of people become business owners, is they want to have that time freedom, but sometimes it backfires and they work more in their business than they ever did anything else. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. And I developed, I think, a lot of soft skills being a salesperson in my early career, and it felt right to go into entrepreneurship. But along the way, I didn't have a lot of management experience, leadership experience, HR experience, finance experience. So having to find those qualities along the way, while you're an owner-operator with that autonomy, the houses still have to get washed, by the way.
Yeah.
So I've got a back and a hip that scream from that autonomy. Its lack of appreciation and keeping me in the field. It's the decisions. You got to make decisions about what's most important, and learn to stay in it.
It's cool. The next question I had is something you've learned that's essential as an owner and leader. What are maybe 2 or 3 things that have, you've really had to master and you've seen a huge impact in your life or your business because you had to figure them out?
I had to figure them out.
Or one thing.
Yeah. Wow. Just one, huh? I still feel like I have so many more to go. I'm filling out an issues chart right now.
No.
In the various areas of my business. But I think if I had to, just one piece of advice is learn how to manage your time and balance within all the areas and circles of influence of your life. Because in a way that affects your health so much that you don't see it over time necessarily. The ineffective management of time, because you're always pushed and pulled if you're not doing it right. Not to go back to the whole Zen thing, but again, balance is the key. And it's like standing on a plate that's on a ball when you're a business owner and a family man and a church elder and all these other things.
And you're juggling chainsaws, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. That sounds awfully dangerous, Austin, and we're a safety first company.
Yes.
So I would not recommend juggling chainsaws without the proper safety equipment, obviously. So I think that's what would be the most valuable thing I've learned is how to. It's the balance thing. It just really comes back to balance because it affects everything as a person, as a business owner, and everything that we do as human beings. If it's not balanced, then it's going to tilt one way or the other, and it's going to make your learning curve that much longer. If you want to be successful as a business owner fast, which all business owners do, they want to turn it fast because they're investing all their time, all their energy. When I first got in, it was 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
Every day.
But do you think that's necessary to seasons to be kind of what people might think of as unbalanced for a little bit? How
Absolutely.
Do you think, yeah, looking back, you see
it's not unbalanced so much as it's you're learning how to balance it.
There you go.
And it's critical. Yeah, those 20-hour days when I was, 28, 29, 30 years old, that was part of my learning curve because, again, with that autonomy, my learning curve is going to go like this, and it's going to take me longer to get to where I want to go because there's so much you have to learn to get that balance right.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you went to college and business school and you've got a lot of those systems foundationally, mentally, and able to set them up quickly. I mean, I'm terrible with finances. I mean, let's just say it. And so I've avoided it,
Mm-hmm.
And when I say avoided it, the bills get paid and everything like that. But if you're not effectively managing your numbers, then you can't track your business. I mean, this all sounds so elementary, but it's difficult when those things don't come easy. And again, it's just all based upon what you want your learning curve and how fast you want to get to success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I've seen that, in our business and others. Like if you started a business, most small businesses did because of the service, like they loved it or they were great at it, or a product that they loved or saw the impact of it. And then you open up your own thing and suddenly finance is such a big deal and you're like, I just wanted to kind of work with the people or just the service or whatever. But it's so important, so you either got to figure it out or find someone that's good at it you can trust,
and you might go through a couple people.
Yeah.
You're not always going to get it on the first hit.
Yeah.
The first pitch. You're going to make mistakes in marketing. You're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars on marketing that's not going to return on its investment. That's what we did. But
then you figure it out. It's just an expensive education.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
one of the things on your balancing act here is working with community and groups like you've mentioned with the chamber and realtors associations and whatnot. What is it that makes you want to get involved with these groups and even start like expanding something like Lead Share? What makes you want to do that?
Well, when you start getting out and meeting people like Austin Bedrosian and Alec, and Valerie you mentioned, people that are passionate about driving their business, not for their sake, but for, the sake of the community because they believe in what they do. I was always happiest behind the trigger and taking a green wall and making it white and doing it like nobody else could or trying to. And that was so gratifying for me. And, to put that in all areas of your business and then give it to the community, that's that sense of pride. That's really why we do what we do. If you've been doing this long enough, it's the product. It's got to represent who you want to be, and we want to be the best.
Yeah.
And people like Valerie and Alec and you and we want to be the best. And so I think that's what these local groups kind of offer is a pool of candidates for your business that are phenomenal resources, phenomenal. It's not just leads that we're generating. Like I said, you got the business to business and, Austin will call me up, I'll watch his house, he'll come in, whatever. That's great and all, but there's so many other resources and things that we can learn from one another and use from one another, like this. Look at this space. It's amazing. So that's the excitement for me. And for Friday Lead Share, we're attempting kind of a little bit of a hybrid adaptation of a typical Lead Share, which is going to offer a not just a Zoom, but we're going to meet regularly, but not every single week. And we're going to move the presentation part of everybody's presentation as a business and kind of more put it in a format that is different. And we're still kind of fleshing that out.
Yeah.
So there's talk of video usage and all kinds of things. So Valerie and I are excited, and we're hopped up on trying to do that on a Friday because Fridays seem a little better for me at that time and for her as well. And so hopefully for other people. But, like I said, the chamber and the Lead Shares, they're all connected, which is the great thing as well. So I feel like just awesome having done Wednesday, Thursday, now Friday, lead share. So I've really come across the spectrum, and they've got lots of committees. There's 8 or so committees that you can serve on with this thing. And again, that's just another door opening to another group of people that are either a business to business or a business to consumer client for you. And they're right here. They're half a mile away.
Yeah.
And I wish I learned that 15 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people that they just haven't taken the dive or whatever. I mean, it's a very low investment financially.
Yeah.
It does take some time. You can't just, pay and get a bunch of stuff for it. You got to put some...
Your investment comes in showing up, people.
Yeah.
That's what the coach
but it's
says.
there. And I think so often people forget that it's there over the last couple of years or whatever it might be. But I mean, you don't have to be alone in your business, whether you're a business owner or, at your company or where your career is. Like if they're local, you can talk about getting involved and stuff, see if there's a benefit for you.
One of the biggest helps was in this, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Austin. But, I met a business coach in the chamber, that's helped me immensely with these financial management hurdles that I've had. So, I couldn't be more pleased about that, but that came from the chamber.
Yep. You got to connect somehow. You can't be alone with it.
No, it's easy to be on an island and just do your thing and, deliver your product yourself and build your product yourself. But if you've ever met Red Gerber's E-Myth, you know that that's only going to work for a short period of time, that you have to teach other people. You have to delegate and elevate. If you don't, then you are going to kill yourself. And it goes all back to the balance thing in your health. Because you can only do it for so long, riding on that left side before it wears off. And there came a period I didn't want to do this anymore. I took a hard look 3 years ago. I was like, and in fact, I actually was doing this part-time and working with Carmen Rivera at State Farm Insurance, she's on a committee with me in Chamber for new member engagement. I love Carmen. She's great, just a wonderful person. And but yeah, I was working with her for I think 6-8 months. I was in insurance after food sale distribution for about 2-3 years. Okay. So that's
back to that. Right?
I went back to that connection because mismanagement of my company kind of forced me to. If we're being honest, which we need to be. Like I said, it's all a learning experience, and I've gotten kicked in the face many times as a business owner, or what it feels like to be, because of the decisions I've made. That time I spent with Carmen, forced me to kind of make a decision on whether I would refocus on my business or get into another industry. Was I going to, make a full-time push into insurance? And I think that's, at that time and period was the kick I needed. And so thankfully the Small Business Administration was also offering some incredible rates on money. It was incredibly cheap. So I put a plan together, what we needed to do, sat down and planned for at least a year. I think it was closer to 14 months on how we were going to spend this money and what we needed to do to make sure we didn't make the mistakes in the past if we were going to do this. So got all that set in place and went for it. Got the right equipment, knew what we were going to have to pay myself and pay technicians, the expenses, all that stuff. Started to get it in there. Now, I talk about the finance management, and it's all still a learning curve, but you got to think about things like that, and you'll have moments in your career as a business owner where you doubt yourself, and you have to make those hard decisions. But in my case, hopefully, and we're still seeing, but the numbers prove that I made the right decision.
Sticking with it, yeah. And there you go.
That's
tough. I mean, I think a lot of business owners, especially small business owners, do get kicked and kind of put down and either go out of business or get so close that they're like, man, I don't think I can do this anymore. So
don't take a paycheck for like 3-4 months. And, that's a little stressful on the household.
Definitely, yeah.
But you're like, it'll pay off, honey. We're almost there. I'll tell you what, if my wife was here and I said, we're almost there, she'd probably just by reaction slap me in the face.
Oh, no. So what made you stand back up and push forward with a new game plan? And
well, I was like, the final observation was I've got 15 years of knowledge in substrate maintenance and care, proper maintenance and care. That's valuable to somebody, property owners. If I can take what I've learned and unlearn it,
Right.
and take some coaching and some help, and position and place things properly, then it's a worthwhile risk. It's, what do you call that? It's worthy. It's a worthy risk, and that's why I did it.
Cool.
Because I wasn't ready to retire, couldn't retire, and I don't know if I was qualified. I mean, I could sell stuff and I could go back to insurance, but that's just not where my heart is. I don't think. And I'm getting better at the management and the leading thing also. I've got some great technicians. Takes a young back, and they're great, and I keep them safe now because of the knowledge I have. So,
Good.
Yeah. A maturity too as a business owner. You have to have that kind of natural maturation into all these systems and departments, human resources.
So what's kind of your vision now that you are seeing, an uptick and things are going well with your plan? What's kind of your vision now?
Well, we're still a micro company. There's 4 of us that are full-time at the A team. We have a financial goal.
Cool.
Which is very important for a team to have.
Absolutely.
They need to see where we're going financially. It's a mistake I've made in the past. I wasn't going to make any longer. So we've got our financial goals. I'd like to get just to see if we can hit that. Honestly, the 3-year goal is if we make our 23 goal to establish the 24 goal on 1 truck, since we've invested in the ability and capacity for it to produce a higher revenue hour as it sits. We'll see how far we can get that one and when we need to add it. I don't know. I mean, I think 2 to 3 trucks is a safe, comfortable place for me in 3 years. It's so about setting the foundation, Austin, and I think I've tried to rush too many times into establishing things like, all it's going to take is a relationship, with one person in commercial business, and we'll be set. But things don't always work. Like I said, it's sometimes a crapshoot with your opportunities, your sales opportunities, and they fall out. I mean, one year we were expecting a $120,000 contract. We were coming out of winter, had the approval for it, and I was calling to set up dates at the end of February, and the gentleman no longer worked there.
Who are you?
Yeah.
When you call.
Yeah.
Who's Ryan? I don't know who Ryan with 18 is.
Yeah, Ron doesn't work here. He's no longer with us, Ron. Ryan. Okay. Cool. Who's heading that up now? Such and such. Great. Let me reach out to them. And I did, and crickets, and crickets, and crickets, and crickets. And so, when I say get kicked in the face, I mean that's pretty big. I mean, 120,000. No, it was 80,000 is what it was, with an opportunity for an extension on more later on in the year. But we had already done $70,000 worth of work with these people, and so the confidence was high, and decisions were made, and it was a very tough spring that year, But that's part of it, right?
Yeah,
that's part of it.
And I love the candidness and everything, with all this, because I think it makes it even more relatable, at least, for me, and I think other people, if they're listening. And
you have to fail faster.
Yeah.
You have to accept the fact that it's going to take 10,000 attempts to turn on your light bulb. Okay? And you just have to get through them. Get through the failures as fast as you can. Learn from them. Don't get complacent and just... I fell into complacency because as an owner-operator, knowing the trade as well as I do, it's very easy to just do the work and maintain.
Just be a solopreneur.
And and with some people that's fantastic and it's great, but as I age in this industry of cleaning, my body's no longer to maintain what has to be done safely. You know what I mean? I can't run up and down the ladders anymore.
Because then all of that income that depended on you would be shot if you're, with a bad hip or whatever for months and months, and there it goes. Yeah.
And so then you need workman's compensation insurance, which is not cheap. You know, if you even say the word ladder around workman's comp, it's crazy. So that's like an $8,000 or $9,000 premium. But the maturity to invest in that and keeping it as part of your business plan 18 months ago, understanding that it was going to take workman's comp to be able to approach, your contacts in the chamber, your contacts at the community association, and I can't remember, it's the CAI, but
I don't know that one.
It's a very large property management association,
okay.
National. And I was going to turn you on to that actually for some contacts. I mean, big players, Gates Hudson, and in this area, top 15 property management companies all really participate. And but having the plan that you're going to have to pay that $9,000 because you're going to have more than 2 employees, which is what the state requires, any more than, what is it, 2 or 3? I'm so bad with numbers. That's comical. But yeah, once you get a certain amount of employees, the state requires you to carry workman's compensation insurance. And of course, as a result, the ladders make it prohibitively expensive. So I know we're just, pressure washers, and it's easy to put that stigma on our industry because it can be a little unregulated, and there's a lot of cowboys out there because it's easy to get into this industry with a little bit of money. $5,000 gets you some pretty decent equipment. But again, that knowledge and screwing things up and making them right. You strive to be perfect, but I'm here. I'm just very flawed, I guess. But
we all are.
Yeah.
We all are.
But look, hey, I've made it 15 years. I live in a beautiful, awesome community with great people. I've got a beautiful wife. I've got 2 daughters going to college next year. They both went to Laurel Ridge, and now they're transitioning into other schools. So, I mean, it's just a happy, healthy place to live here. And I encourage any business owner, that's family oriented, that's community oriented, this is the place.
Yep, definitely. Awesome. How can people get in touch with you or connect with you?
It's not hard. Google A-Team Roof Cleaning, Google nomoreyuck.com, or just Google No More Yuck. Find me. You can find me, Ryan Freidline, anywhere on Facebook, our company, A-Team. A-Team was my favorite television show.
That's where it came from, huh?
1983 is when it first came out. And I was, 75, 80, what was I, 8 years old? So yeah, the black van, GMC van. Of course, we ride GMC trucks at the A-Team.
There you go.
At one time.
You don't have a mohawk, though.
No. I've got technicians with dreadlocks, though.
Okay.
So we definitely have some flair. Where was I going with that?
A-Team.
Yeah, I named the company after the show, and also because it has an A. And 16 years ago, they used to have community phone books.
There you go.
The Red Book.
There you go.
So that was the
top.
Yeah, that was the whole premise for naming it A, honestly. But you can find us anywhere. But we're headquartered right here in Warrenton. We've got a shop outside of my personal residence on the property. So we operate on the property here in town, headquartered, and service the entire area. But 540-718-6406, I think, is our main office line, which is good.
Awesome. Cool.
Thanks, Austin.
Well, thank you so much for your time and sharing with me and our audience.
Yeah.
Lots of value and encouragement. Just to hear your story, and I mean, just for me to get to know you a little bit better too. It's been nice.
Yeah, it's been awesome, man. And it took us several months to get the right date, but
we got it.
So glad we did. And if anybody wants to hear some decent music, and you see us playing at O'Brien's, we're the Butter Notes. Come and see us on Friday nights. You won't be disappointed. It's a great time.
Awesome. And if you're an entrepreneur, take encouragement from Ryan and everything, and you can get a shirt that shows that you're proud to be an entrepreneur from our site. So
I gotta get one of those.
Yeah. So be proud to be an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
Changing, learning, leading.
That's right. Call me anytime.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Adios.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of The Heart of Fauquier. If you loved joining us today, give this podcast a great review and subscribe to keep up with new episodes. If you have an office in Fauquier that needs a cleaning service, reach out to Bedrosian Cleaning Services and see how they can serve you. Until next time, thanks for listening.